Yo, what's good, everybody? It's Drewberry, and we just got a surprise patch in Marvel Snap. Now, it is not something that has gone live. Instead, it's actually something that impacts the Datamine cards. In particular, the cards that are releasing next month. December's batch of cards have been heavily adjusted, in my opinion. The Spotlight Cash schedule has changed quite a bit, so stay tuned to the end of the video because I'm going to have an updated graphic that has the schedule as we now know it. It has changed a little bit, right? But the biggest change is that we've lost Firestar. She's just not being released. There is no estimated time of arrival on this card. She's just gone. Poof, vanished. See ya later, Firestar. Now, she could return maybe January or February, but she's not being released in December. We know that much. That has been confirmed, which is kind of sad. I think a lot of people were anticipating this card to be the best one of the month. You know what? And look, 5-star rating, everybody. Everyone who watched my Datamine video and were like, why? What are you talking about? She's so good. I misread the card. I thought she set the power of the cards on turn 5 that were played the prior turn. No, they're gaining her power. That is an insane burst, insane buff. Such a good card. That little change of text in my brain makes this so much better. I was very excited for Firestar. She was going to be my highest rated card of the month, and now she's gone. So it's going to impact a few things, especially in terms of saving your economy. So, of course, I'm not going to talk about the card too much because she's just not coming to Marvel Snap anytime soon, but a very good card, strong card. But why would they do this? Why would they remove Firestar? I don't know. There's probably going to be a lot of conspiracy theories. I'm going to tell you there's a 90% chance that it's due to bugs. And they just couldn't quite fix the card prior to her release because they have to get these cards in a good enough state before the beginning of the month. That's kind of their schedule, to have them ready and loaded and boom, into the game. They do like those little spotlight videos, right, where they showcase the card and its abilities and stuff like that. I feel like Werewolf might have been bugged, but they had till the end of the month to fix Werewolf, whereas Firestar, maybe only 2-3 works, wasn't a big enough window, couldn't make it work, so they just took the card out. That's what I think happened here, okay? Due to bugs, Firestar is not being released in December. But the other thing that you could think about, that 10% chance, I don't know, maybe it's something, but this was going to be the month, right, where they were going to start with one extra card per month compared to what we are accustomed to, which is one per week. This time around, it was going to be the season pass card plus a card in your spotlight caches. So it was going to be Shaw and Blob in week 1, but that's not going to happen anymore. You're going to see the changes in a bit. So now we're back to the regular schedule. Are we going to stick to the regular schedule moving forward? Is there going to eventually be more cards added? I don't know. They have mentioned that there's going to be some economic changes, or they're going to touch on the current state of the economy in this upcoming patch or this upcoming month. They're at least going to talk about it. Hopefully it's good news, and hopefully it has to do with this, so it's a little bit more explained. But those are my leading 2 reasons. You let me know in the comments what you think, all those crazy theories. But there you go. See you later, Firestar. I'm going to miss her. She looked like a really fun card, but there was 2 more big changes. Sebastian Shaw got a buff. How about that? A little Datamine buff going from a 3-3 to a 3-4. I always find it really fascinating when I see changes just before these cards go live, because typically it's an indicator as to whether the card is a little bit too powerful, a little bit too annoying or something like that, or maybe a little bit underwhelming, so they give it a little bit more power. Now, it does tend to backfire. Believe it or not, Loki, with his ability, was datamined as, I believe, a 3-4. They buffed him right before his release to a 3-5, and then it became the most broken card ever in Marvel Snap. See, I can't read too much into it, but it is interesting to know that the testing or whatnot, they thought, let's bring Shaw up to a 3-4. I think personally it's a little bit scary. I thought the scaling of this card was through the roof already. There's so many great synergies with the Koye, Surfer, Forge, and you can easily get Shaw to like from a 3-4 now to a 3-10. And maybe that's the reason. So imagine, right? You give 1 buff with a Koye, so that's 3 power because of Shaw's ability. Whenever this card permanently gains power, give it +2 more. So that's 3 with the Okoye buff. It goes to a 3-7. And then you give him 1 more from some other means, and he's all of a sudden within Shang-Chi range. Is that worth it? That counter existing because of the 10 increase to Shang-Chi, is that worth giving Shaw an extra power to balance him out? I have no idea. I don't think so. I think this card is busted. I think it's going to be so good. Maybe it's because it's a season pass card that they're making them strong. I don't know. It's kind of wild, but there's a lot of combinations here. Shuri as well. Now, one thing to note about this card, Blue Marvel, even Red Skull on the opposing side of the board, these ongoing buffs, these field buffs, do not count. Okay, it's just permanently gains power, isn't actually base power either. It's just like Ironheart giving power, Silver Surfer giving power, Forge giving power. It's anytime you're given this quantity of power, it's going to increase, and then he's going to stack his ability on top of it, not when it's a temporary aura buff from Blue Marvel or whatever else. Okay, so that's kind of the way to differentiate, but it still gets countered by Shadow King. So Shadow King, Shang-Chi are the new counters for Sebastian Shaw. I don't know if that's enough. It just seems really, really strong, and I don't feel like this buff was necessary, but there you go. We got one more change to talk about. Oh my goodness, they buffed Blob. He was a 6'3", now he's a 6'4", a little bit of increase in power. I don't even know what to think about this one. It's kind of weird, right? Because Blob, by design, with the ability 6'4" on reveal, merge your deck into this and gain its total power. You're assuming that you're going to get to a high power total just through the ability alone, right? So that one power, is that going to make the difference between losing a game or winning a game? I would say this change is pretty negligible, but it could have a decent impact. I don't know. I'm not going to read too much into this one. It is a little bit interesting. This card does seem pretty good. There's combinations I think that are just excellent with Wave to cheat it out early, and then the Blob eats up the deck. More cards because you've drawn less at this point in time. You Taskmaster it. Amazing, right? You set up armor so you don't get Shang-Chi'd. All that good stuff. You're good to go. Another one is Thanos, just all those stones, so it makes sure other cards stay in the deck, and then you eat them up with Blob. There's some potential with this card, let me tell you. Now, if you're wondering why I don't have star ratings, because I typically do that, I'm going to have a star ratings video about these cards at the end of the week. I just wasn't expecting this, so I figured I'd hide my star ratings until later. So you got to stay tuned and subscribe. Let's go. All right, so that's the change to Blob. Let me know if Blob, Shaw, or Firestar, which one's the most shocking to you? Which one matters the most to you? Here is the Spotlight cash schedule for December. All right, so here is the updated and what I perceive as the final Spotlight cash schedule for December. You can pretty much lock this one in. This is how it's going to look moving forward, bearing any buffs or nerfs to these cards shown here. Unlikely that there's series drops, let's be honest. So, what has changed? Well, Sebastian Shaw is just doing what a normal season pass card does, as we know in the past, to just have 3 cards available in his Spotlight Cash Week because his variant is in the season pass. So what was the card added? It's Man-Thing. So essentially, Blob used to be there. They put in Man-Thing, and then it's going to be Man-Thing, Stegron, and Jeff in week 1 with Sebastian Shaw being the season pass card. Week 2 is now going to be Blob with Ravonna and Living Tribunal. That's where Firestar was. She gone. And now we're moving on to what we already knew with Havoc and Celine at the week 3 and week 4 respectively. Not much has changed there. So there you go. That's how it's shifted. I think overall, it's made this month pretty weak. I'm not going to lie to you. I think, well, I'll get into my star ratings later, but there's a card that I think people might be sleeping on that I think is going to be the best one of this bunch. But Firestar was head and shoulders the best card, and maybe that's why she got booted. Anyways, there you go, guys. I hope this was helpful for planning out the cards that you want to get in December. Let me know in the comments which one you're most excited for. And of course, next week we're going to have the patch, and the patch should have some data mines, and I will be sure to cover them as soon as possible for you. All right. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.